So today is called the Yin Yang of You. Anybody know what the Yin Yang is? A little bit. So first, I want to tell you a little story about a language teacher. So there's a language teacher, and she was teaching her students French. And so one of her main points that she was saying is that in French, unlike in English, nouns have a definite feminine or a masculine gender. And so, for example, house would be, and pardon my French, I don't speak French, la maison, la. And then pencil would be masculine, le crayon. Okay? That's la and le. And so there was a funny student who thought, well, what about a computer? What gender is the computer? And so the teacher took the opportunity to take that as a teachable moment and said, well, why don't we split up the class and you guys get to discuss and decide what's the gender of the computer. And so she split up the class into males and females, and they went at it. So the men decided that the computer was going to be a female, okay? And she had asked them to give 4 reasons why they thought that. Don't shake your head, Jody. So one reason was because no one but their creator understands their internal logic, right? The second reason was because their native language that they use to communicate with other computers, nobody understands it. Even the smallest mistake is saved in long-term memory for later possible review. And as soon as you make a commitment to buy one, you spend a lot of money trying to accessorize it. So that was the man's viewpoint. The women's group, however, decided that the computer would be a man. It would be masculine for the following reasons. In order to do anything with it, you first have to turn it on. They have a lot of data, and yet they still can't think for themselves. They're supposed to help you solve problems, but half the time they're the problem. And as soon as you commit to buying one, if you just would have waited a little longer, you could have gotten a better model. So I don't know how true that is. I'll leave that with you. So I'm going to start off the class today with the class. It is a class with a little exercise. So if you can just kind of pass this around. And then I'm going to give you guys le crayon. Okay, so this sheet right here is called a polarity map. Now, I took out all the labels of each section. I just want you to circle or underline or put a check mark, whatever you want to do, to any of those words that you feel that it is you. This is so me. Or this has been me, or predominantly this has been something that I tend to do. Whatever you feel that is, you just take a few minutes to underline or circle or check mark. Oh, there goes my live feed. No, just as many as you want, as many as you feel like these are you. Yeah. It's okay. I'm sure the people on Facebook don't mind. All of them. Ooh, Lord. Okay, what's more authentic for you today? Let's talk about that. Where's the? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. And when you're done, just kind of give me the eyes. How we doing? We doing good? Almost done? He never participates, and the day he participates, he takes the longest. Passive. Okay, how about now? Almost done? Okay, I'm gonna show a slide right now that's gonna show the categories, and I just want you to see what you see. See where you fall. So we have here, this is the feminine column, this is the masculine column. Now what this means by distortion, it means just extremes, out of balance. You're on the extreme side of either one. So kind of take a look at the qualities and see where you fall. Anybody surprised where they fall the most? You're surprised? Yeah? Where do you fall? More feminine? Okay. Who else? Anybody feels like they're like, oh, I'm more masculine, even though I'm a female? I was more masculine? Both? Okay, good. Both? Both. Good. I'm so glad that there's a lot of you that have both. That's good. You're supposed to have both. Okay, so there you go. So this is, again, this is the distortion. Keep that in mind because I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. The extremes of either one. Now, there's a little word here I put harmony. Because even though there could be balance, so you could be pragmatic at times, you could be emotional at times, right? But the harmony happens from the integration of both. Because so to me, the word harmony is integration, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, I want you to notice, like and some of you did, that the feminine qualities that are usually associated with a woman can be in men, and vice versa. The masculine qualities that are usually associated with men can be in women, okay? It has nothing to do with your gender. Now, the yin and yang. Are we good with that? I mean, I'm going to leave it up for a little bit, but are we good? Anybody like have any questions? Surprised by it anymore? Good? Okay. So the yin and yang is the concept of duality, okay? Two halves that together make a whole, okay? If something is complete and whole, by definition, is unchanging, and it's already complete, okay? So when you split something into two halves, you're kind of disrupting the balance, the harmony, okay? And when that happens, the two halves begin to kind of chase after each other in order to create balance, a sense of balance or harmony again, okay? Now, everything in this world, in the physical world that we live in, is a duality. Everything comes in pairs of opposites, okay? And we see examples of this all the time. Day and night, right? The night being yin, feminine, the day being yang. We have the earth being yin, more feminine, the sun being yang, more masculine. Then we have a woman, and we have a man. Generally, yin, feminine, is more passive. Generally, is more passive. Yang is more active. And I'm going to read a little passage from a book called the Tao Te Ching. Has anybody heard of that book? Yeah. Basically, Tao means the way. Okay. So the book is called the Book of the Way and Its Power. That's the definition of the title. And it goes like this. When people see things as beautiful, ugliness is created. When people see things as good, evil is created. Being and non-being produce each other. Difficult and easy complement each other. Long and short define each other. High and low oppose each other. Fore and aft follow each other. And so that kind of tells you a little bit about the nature of the yang. And the nature of the yin and yang, the nature of the yin and the yang, it's not absolute and it's not static. And by absolute, I mean that nothing is completely yin and nothing is completely yang. Each aspect contains the beginning point of the other. For example, day becomes night, night becomes day. Okay? One needs the other. And it's not static because the nature of the yin and yang flows and changes over time. In the example of day becoming night, that happens gradually. It's not day-night. It's a gradual change. But sometimes change can happen very drastically and very dramatic. There's a species of fish. It's called the black spot angelfish. The females transform completely into males when there's a shortage of males. Okay? So that's a very drastic transformation where one aspect turns into the other aspect. Now, one time I was driving to Dallas to go see a longtime friend from Puerto Rico. I was listening to a podcast, and the guest they had in the podcast was a life coach in California, and his niche was teaching men to embrace the feminine within. So the podcast goes along, and at the end of the podcast, the host of the podcast asked the guest, would you recommend a book that has impacted your life so much that it would be worth letting the audience know? Sure. He said, The Way of the Superior Man. I don't know if anybody heard of that book, but it's not just directed, it is directed to men, but if a woman reads it, she's going to learn a whole lot as well, because it breaks down the feminine and masculine energy, okay? And so what he says in the book is that the feminine energy is movement, flow, free expression, is changing. The feminine energy is life itself. It's a process. He says the masculine energy is steadfast, decisive, logic, reason, goal-oriented. It's very purposeful and it focuses on purpose and direction. The masculine, however, grows through a challenge. The masculine likes a challenge, and it grows through that, while the feminine grows through praise. Masculine seeks freedom, greater freedom, freedom from constraints, freedom from limitations, while feminine seeks love, fullness of life. It wants to experience life. Now, when a man and a woman, and now I'm speaking about the physical vehicle, when a man and a woman attract each other, there's two things that are happening. There's a conscious attraction, and there's an unconscious attraction. The conscious attraction is, I like your hair, I like your looks, I like your values, I like your beliefs, I like the way you talk, I like your career, I like the way you make me feel, I like the way your skin, anything that you can be consciously aware of, that's the conscious attraction. But there is something going on in the unconscious at the energy level, okay? And that's that the feminine, for example, when I'm attracted to a female, the feminine that's dormant within me gets awakened by the feminine that is awakened and alive within her. Okay? Vice versa for her, the masculine that is dormant within her is being awakened by the masculine that is alive and vibrant within me. Okay? Let's keep that in mind. Now, this is very clear. It actually manifests itself very clearly in an argument. Okay, when you see a couple fighting in the argument, that's when you're going to be at one of you is going to be at your most feminine, and one of you is going to be at your most masculine. Okay, but there's two things happening. There's a lot of conflict at that moment. Okay, because maybe we're not understanding what each energy is focusing on. All right. So I had a client that came to me and says, Angel, I'm having a hard time with the communication with my wife. Okay, what's going on? He told me what was going on. And I had just read this book, and I said, I'm going to give this a shot. I wanted to see if this was true, right? Because it could just be a bunch of words on a book, right? So I said, I'm going to recommend you something, and I want you to try it, but you got to let me know the outcome. I'm really interested in the outcome. So I said, go home. At your next argument, well, actually, first I asked them these questions. Let's figure out who's the feminine, who's the masculine, despite of your sex, whether you're male or female. The feminine, who is the person that doesn't really quite make sense? It's kind of up and down, changes his mind, it's a little bit irrational, storms off, slams the door. Oh, well, that's my wife. Okay, good. Who's the person who's trying to solve the problem, to bring this to a one-point solution and move on? Who's trying to make sense of all this? This doesn't make sense. I'm trying to make sense of this. Oh, well, that's me. Okay, well, you're the masculine. Okay. Now, here's what is happening. This is the focus. Let's say that your wife sends you on an errand. I need you to go to the store. I need you to bring back A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And normally, you do. You're very good at that. You're very good about doing what she says, bringing home exactly the list that she wanted. But something happened that day. Today, you were not there. And you forgot A and G. You come home. She's already. So you come home, and everything could be fine, but you forgot A and G, and she is pissed. Right? You're like, okay, this is like the first time I've done this. I don't understand why you're mad at me. Right? Here's the thing about feminine energy: it's always in the moment. 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 It doesn't keep a track record. Masculine energy, however, can. I remember last month, on this particular day, I went and got your stuff, and I brought everything. She doesn't care. At that moment, you didn't break A and G. And here you are in your most masculine, her being her most feminine. She's not making any sense to you, right? And you're trying to make sense of this situation, and you're trying to bring logic and reason to this, and you're trying to find the solution and explain why you forgot A and G. She doesn't care. Because at that moment, what feminine is focusing on is that there's a disconnect. I am no longer connected to you. In this current moment, I feel a disconnect. It feels like we're miles apart. I don't feel the love. So your job as masculine is to recognize that your partner is at its most feminine. And what you need to do is fix the connection first. Okay? Because again, remember, she's at her most feminine and you're at your most masculine. So what she wants is to feel connected to you again. So what he recommends in the book, he says, dance with her. Put some music on, grab her, dance with her. I don't know about y'all, but I don't know a single woman that doesn't like dancing. Anybody know a single woman that doesn't like dancing? You do? Well, then there's exceptions to the rules. She may be more masculine. Oh. By myself. That is funny. So she does like dancing. But what is dancing? Movement, flow. Things that the feminine energy is all about. Exchanging energy. So feminine, so guys, I mean, I've met a husband that the wife left him because he would never dance with him. Dancing was that important for her. So it's not that they want you to dance with her. It's what it represents to her, that you're here with me in this dance of life and that you're connected. See, it's all about the connection for the feminine, okay? Now, he also says you can make her laugh. Maybe laughing is your thing, and that's your way of connecting. Maybe you just want to grab her arm and pull her to you and hug her and kiss her. Something that fixes the connection. Something that says that we're on the same side here. Okay? You fix the connection. Then, depending on when the argument was, maybe it was in the morning, maybe it was in midday, maybe at night, you want to say, hey, now you can bring her into the masculine and say, hey, honey, I was thinking about what happened earlier today, and I just want to get your thoughts on this. I want to get your opinion on this, right? And so now you're bringing her into the masculine, and now you can resolve the problem. And so this is what I told the guy. I said, hey, go home, try this. The next day, I want to get your thoughts on something. I want to get your opinion on something. And one thing is going to happen. She's going to melt in your hands. What? Like, you care about what I think? Really? It's like, I promise you, she's going to tell you that. So the next day, 9 o'clock in the morning, he calls me. Bro, it worked. There was no argument. But we still have the problem, though. So that's when I told him, okay, now you're going to bring her into the masculine. Ask her what she thinks about this situation and get her opinion on it. This is what's going to happen. Let me know tomorrow. 9 o'clock on the dot. Bro, it worked. I didn't have to do anything. She solved the problem for me. So I have to say the book is telling the truth. It works. It's called The Way of the Superior Man. I don't know. I didn't get details. So here's what happens. We're taught very early that relationships, the woman and the man become one. So that we need each other to become whole. That somehow we're partial people and dependent on somebody else. So here's what happens. If you don't feel whole, then your survival is dependent on this other person. And you live in fear that you're going to lose this person. And when that happens, you begin to control, right? Don't go out with your friends. I don't want guys around you, right? On a deep level, that person that you love, she's really a mirror to you. And what you have to do is you have to recognize that you're in this relationship, right, as an opportunity to see what the mirror is reflecting back so you can grow, so you can learn more about yourself, so you can become more balanced and live a harmonious life. Because what's happening is, remember, the feminine within her is being awakened within you. So she's helping you. Maybe you were on the distortion of the man, and so little by little, she's bringing you a little bit of this, and then that brings you into the healthy side of the man. And vice versa for her. You're waking up the masculine within her, okay? Now, if you see this person as somebody outside of you, right, as your other half that is completing you, then it's going to, every time you get into a conflict with this person, it's going to magnify your own inadequacy to do those things for yourself. It's clear that you can't. And so you're going to get upset about that, and you're going to think that somehow it's her fault or his fault. Okay? So then that's going to make you feel that way. And you're going to be because you're relying on this person to do those things for you. You have to make me happy. You have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G in order for me to be happy and balanced and harmonious. And that is not the case. Now here's the other part. As that happens over time, one of you is going to kind of feel a little bit like, oh, like I need some space or something. Like I need to breathe. Okay, and that's you kind of becoming like separating a little bit, right? And then you realize that you're already whole. Maybe you start practicing spirituality and you realize that you're whole already. And now you become independent. First you're partial and dependent, and now you're whole and independent. So you just swing the pendulum to the other side. You're on two extremes. So the point is not to realize your wholeness. That's part of the process. It's just a step in the journey. The point is to have a harmonious life and to be balanced within yourself. Okay? So partial and dependent is one extreme. Whole and independent is another extreme. So when these energies that happen to be within you are not balanced, we kind of go into certain modes of behavior. I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens to the male, what happens to the female. When it comes to the male, when these energies are unbalanced, the male is going to be very controlling of people around him, his environment, and the women in his life, particularly his partner. He has a fear of the feminine and fear of his own feelings and expressing his own feelings and hearing that voice. He's afraid of his emotions. He has trust issues. He may seem unemotional. He may be suppressive towards women. And this is what we call the traditional macho man. Okay, the traditional macho man. But the traditional macho man has a hysterical female inside screaming to get out. Okay? That's what's happening. It's so unbalanced that this female is wanting to be expressed. And so he's going to attract someone into his life who's going to match that female within him. Okay? So he can see it. So he can see it. Okay? And hopefully bring some awareness. But again, if you're not aware of this internal process, you're going to think that, ooh, it's her. You know what I mean? She's got issues, not me. Now, on the female side of things, she feels disempowered. Again, when this is unbalanced, she feels disempowered. Because of that, she'll go into manipulation to achieve the results that she wants to receive. And again, has nothing to do with being male or female. I'm talking about whatever energy you have unbalanced, whatever energy you're most identified with. Because there's men that do this. They control and they manipulate and they sexualize things. And there's females that go on the other side. They control and they're afraid of their feelings and their emotions. So don't get confused. I'm not talking about you female, you male. It's the energy. So if the male energy is unbalanced, okay, for the female energy, she feels disempowered, manipulates to achieve results, feels helpless, is dependent on males or a partner. They may have physical ailments. They're going to go into dishonesty. They're going to be overly sexual. They're going to use sex to gain control. There's going to be cattiness. So the more unbalanced her energy is in the female side of it, she's going to attract a male who's going to match that screaming man within her that is wanting to get out, that wants to be logical and assertive. Certain qualities here, okay? So he's going to match a male that's going to be under distortion of masculine, very controlling, very possessive, jealous. Now, the whole point of this process, okay, is to be able to have both energies, both masculine and feminine, functioning fully and completely within yourself, to be able to have harmony in your life. The female energy, again, feminine energy, is the guiding principle. That's intuition, because it's life itself. It's connected to a higher part of the universe, and that's the guiding force, the feminine within you. The job of the masculine within you is to listen to that voice, to that guiding voice, and make it happen. It's the balance of being, doing. Being, doing. Feminine guides me, masculine does. Feminine guides me, masculine does. Using the assertiveness, that competitive edge, that doer attitude, that purpose and direction attitude that masculine has. Being guided by the feminine within, which is love and caregiving and nurturing, connected to the universe, connected to life. It's living, it's experiencing. This doesn't mean that you get to tell man what to do, okay? That's not what that means, which a lot of people get that confused. It's all within you. Same for you, females. The feminine within you is going to guide you, and the masculine within you does. Okay? Now, if you, please join me. I want to do a little guided imagery with you. So please sit comfortably, feet on the ground. We're going to close our eyes, and I'm just going to, it's just a little guided imagery, a visualization, if you will. So go ahead and close your eyes, and take a few long, deep breaths. Very relaxing, deep breath. In and out. In and out. Bring yourself fully here right now. Feel your body. Feel the chair underneath you. Feel the clothes against your skin. Get a sense for the sounds in your surrounding. What do you notice right now? Keep your breath nice and slow. And I want you to imagine in your mind's eye that you're standing in a long hallway. And at the end of this hallway, there's a door. Walk up to that door. I want you to put your hand on the handle of that door. Open the door and walk inside. And you walk into a large room. And in the center of this room, there's a large mirror. Beautifully standing mirror. Walk up to this mirror and see your reflection. The one that looks back at you every day. Now consciously change the reflection in the mirror to the one of your opposite energy. If you're a female, see yourself as male. If you're male, see yourself as female. Try to get it down to the most minute detail as possible. This is you. This is an aspect of you. As you look at this image being reflected back, get comfortable with what you see. Now reach your hand into the mirror and take his or her hand. Bring him or her out of the mirror and in front of you. See him or her as she stands or he stands in front of you. And take him or her into an embrace. As you embrace, feel that there are no boundaries between you. Feel the blending of the energies together. And you're blending so much that now you're just embracing yourself. Feel what that feels like as you're connecting with all of you. Now allow yourself to walk out of the room the same way that you came in. Close the door behind you. And as you begin to feel your consciousness here in this moment, bring back with you that awareness that you had at that moment. Feel this room again, the sounds. Feel your body here in this physical reality. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. How are you guys feeling? Good? Well, thank you for doing that with me. And I'd like to bring Edward up. I want you to guys hear his experience with the yin and yang and how it applies to his life. Edward Travi.
I really appreciate you guys. Can you hear me? Yeah. I really appreciate the applause. My yin appreciates the applause. Because the yin is what appreciates applause. But I'm really glad Angel brought me here to talk to you guys about the yin and yang of life. Because it kind of brought perspective into my life in the moment of what I'm doing at this present time and what I've been doing in the last few months and the last year. As you know, I recently just released my first album last year around November, and that took a lot of energy to do, you know. It took a lot of yin and a lot of yang, and if I didn't find balance within those, I probably would have never done anything like that, because you can be as creative as possible, but not assertive enough to get your work out there, you know? That's why a lot of artists recluse. A lot of artists need that time to be alone and to, you know, self-develop and look into their creative mind in order to get it out there, whether it's through a note, whether it's by a painting, whether it's by, you know, just write a book. It's key. You know, you need your quiet time. You need that time to just, you know, go within. Because if you don't, nothing ever gets done. In order for it to do anything, you have to find it. That's the yin. You need to, it guides you, and then you need to do. I'm going to talk into more of like music composer mindset. I read a lot. I read a lot of biographies of other musicians. Like, have you ever heard of Aerosmith? Have you ever heard of Frank Sinatra? These two musicians, are band and musician and composer, are two totally different genres, but they still need the same thing, you know? The Frank Sinatra, he did a lot of time to reassess his life, and then, you know, one thing bad happened, another good thing happened, another bad thing happened, it's just a flow, it's a balance. And then Aerosmith, let's talk about Joe Perry. Joe Perry is the guitarist, the lead guitarist, and he was going through ups and downs, and, you know, and he never quit though. You know, he found his yin and he found his yang, and it's just, we just need to understand that it's a process. It's just a process, and embrace it, you know. But the way I did it was I was able to keep a balance last year, and when he brought this to my attention, I said, oh, this is cool. So it started me, you know, it brought me back to what I was doing within the last few months, and I was like, wow, this is true. This is actually really is, you know, there is a yin and yang to life. So I started thinking of how I was so reclusive for like months on end behind the piano, trying to get something, you know, to create something from nothing. And then on the weekends, that was done on the weekdays, but then on the weekends, I would actually go out into the world and, you know, express myself, be able to socialize. That's the masculine. Yin is more, it's like, I'd rather just stay home and not do anything. I believe. That's from my point of view. But I was able to balance everything because I would bike to work, and that allowed me to activate and move And then I'm also a licensed massage therapist, so I do a lot of body work, and I do more medical, so it's more healing. But that allowed me to be more masculine and socialize and get out there and do. So that's just, if we all look back from what I know, we all look back at what we've done in life, we're able to actually pinpoint the yins and yangs. It's like, and it's true. It's all true. But I also liked what he said about how a girl likes to dance, and she does like to dance. My girlfriend loves to dance, but alone. And when I want to take her out to dance, it's like, no, I don't want to dance, but I want to dance. My feminine side is like, yeah, let's do this, you know? But I think we're having some issues there, so I'm probably going to use his little example and not change her, but bring that feminine quality in me and try to dodge the book she throws at me. No, she doesn't go that far, but she does go crazy. But no offense to her, everybody has their setbacks and their difficulties in life. But yeah, I really appreciate Angel having me here and y'all being able to have me here too, and I appreciate it. I really do, because I need to socialize, because I'm over there in my just playing away, and I need that social interaction. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
So he's right. I mean, if you look, and it's not just with your partner. It could be your friend, or a really good friend, or a coworker, or a boss. You can see when they're gonna be at their when they're being in their yin, or they're being in their yang, and then you can respond accordingly. Okay, we can't go yin to yin, yang to yang for conflict. You know, that's for resolution. But in conflict, we have to kind of, when somebody's like this morning, whew, this morning was difficult. I'm telling you. My little one didn't want to wear anything. She didn't want to wear shoes, but by the way, she said they're the most comfortable shoes in the world. And then this morning they happen to be uncomfortable. So luckily, her mom was there with me when she picked us up, and she was like, "Oh, I know why the shoes are doing that. I have no idea. I'm not a female. I don't know how my pinky gets stuck when you're wearing shoes. So she was able to stay in her most nurturing side, and I was too much on my yang. I mean, I was definitely too much on my yang. And she's like, "I got it." I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna drive." But if men allow themselves to look within and to connect with their feminine within them, they're gonna become. It's really your internal feminine power. It's gonna enhance your masculinity. It's gonna make you stronger. And it's gonna the same thing happen to the females. If the females will go and look within themselves and connect with their internal masculine power, it's gonna enhance your femininity. Okay, and it's gonna make you more powerful. Like Idra was saying, you can be creative, but if you're not assertive enough to go do it, you're never gonna move. Okay? And so in doing this, going within, balancing the energies, right? This vehicle is going to become more enhanced. Right? And we're going to be able to play this external game better, because it's really just a game. We're going to be able to play better, okay? And not only that, the reason because that's going to happen is because we're going to be living from a place of wholeness. We're not going to be bringing into the physical world our half self, our half truth. We're going to bring our entire truth. We're going to be connected. We're going to be living in union and in unity with self, capital S. Thank you.
Well, just to wrap this up, I just want to say thank you so much for being here this morning. Have you guys enjoyed his music? Isn't that awesome? I'm going to ask you to do something. We've never done this before, but we wanted to just, as a thank you to Edward for being here this morning, I wanted to invite you guys, if you wanted to give a little donation to him for being with us this morning, if you'll go over to the table this morning, you can actually take one of the envelopes and just write his name on the envelope, and we'll give that directly to him, just as a reciprocal gift back after he shared his gift with us this morning. You guys cool with that? And I just want to say thank you so much. We have so many people that contribute to what we do here at The Connection. I want to say thank you for your gifts. Thank you for what you do. You can do that here today. Our website is currently under construction, but there is an opportunity for you to donate online. If that makes it easier for you guys, you can always go online and donate to us online. So thank you again for your support. Next Sunday, I mentioned this last week, next Sunday we're actually going to be in the park. We won't be meeting here on a Sunday morning. We're going to get together in the afternoon at the park, and those details are going to be out on Facebook, hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow. Had some little issues with the parks here in San Antonio, but anyway, we're going to get that worked out. It's a park. It's a public place, so we're going to go have a good time. I'm going to encourage you guys to bring a picnic if you want to. We're going to do it around 4 o'clock next Sunday afternoon. That is a holiday weekend, so we want to just enjoy some social time. We're actually inviting some other people here in San Antonio to come be with us. I think we're connecting with Celebration Circle and their group, and Jason from Marrow Match has agreed to come out and, you know, set some stuff up there, so he's got a lot of stuff going on. Bring your friends. It's going to be a social, comfortable time. We've got some musicians coming out to play. It's going to be a good time. And Angel, is there anything else? Is there anything else that I need to say? Am I missing anything? Oh, okay. So, yes, next weekend we won't actually have to come and set anything up for Sunday, obviously, because we won't be here. But the following Sunday, the first Sunday in June, if we could get a couple of people to just say, hey, I'll come by, you can either do it Saturday afternoon or like early Sunday morning if you want to get here early. I think it takes a total of about 15 to 20 minutes just to kind of move tables in and out and set some chairs up. It's really not that big a deal. But we could definitely use your help. So if you could help us do that today, when we get done here, we're just going to move those tables back in here. If a couple of you can help us move some tables back in here and get it set up for them for their work week tomorrow, that would be great. Thank you so much for being with us today. I hope that you guys are looking forward to a great week. I'll let Angel come up and
You know, one of the things that we talked about is we want to be able to build community and do community things. And so, you know, I suggested an idea, and this is something that Daniel and I have done in the past. We just kind of go through our clothes and see what fits, what doesn't fit, what we want to keep, what we don't want to keep. And instead of taking it to Goodwill or Salvation Army, just kind of keep it, create a little pile for yourselves. And we're going to designate a day that we're going to hopefully meet here and kind of sort through those things. And as a community service event, we're just going to get together and we're going to go to an area that we usually go to in 281 and Nolan area, that area. There's a lot of people that could use it. And we're just going to go set up and just hand out clothes, care packages, you know, toiletries, you know, different things like that, like non-perishable food, things like that. So if you have some clothes that you no longer fit, you want to get rid of, just don't take them to Goodwill, keep them to yourself. And then later on, we're just going to give you a day that we can come together and we'll just take them down. Okay? Thank you, guys.